2 great wins on the road. Let's go.
Johnson goes to deny. Step back. Big play for the.
It's got you here.
Jones doesn't go the tip by Broom. Up ahead, Harper.
Hello and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Weekly. We got Josh back with us this week. How we doing, Josh?
It's been a long day, but we're here.
Yeah, it has. It's been a long couple of weeks for both of us, but hey, that's life. Everybody's got something to complain about, right?
I mean, if we're not complaining, we're not living.
Amen, brother. Amen. Well, you know who is winning right now and who is living
Auburn.
Is our Auburn Tigers. Hell yeah. But before we jump into that, let's first talk about our affiliate with Fanatics. Guys, if you are looking for some new Auburn gear, click our affiliate link below. Help us out tremendously by using that affiliate link. We get a little piece of the pie. Very little, but still helps us out just a little bit.
Taste.
Josh, let's jump right into the Vandy game. Let's talk about that because before we get to the Iron Bowl, which everybody is here for that, let's talk about the Vandy game. And we needed that game. It was the perfect bounce back game.
Yes, I'm convinced that game set up the confidence we needed for the Iron Bowl, the basketball 1.0. The Vandy made a push there at the end. It kind of made me a little nervous. Not at the end of the first half. It kind of made me nervous. And then Auburn just ran away with it, took care of business like they were expected to. And it was the perfect game before the game.
Yeah, no, and it was, like you said, they pushed it close. And then Chaney Johnson really took over. I mean, he went on a 9-0 run by himself, and he was playing like he was the best player on the court at that time.
Well, he shot 90% from the field. So, I mean, in that game, he was the player of the game, and you can't change my mind. I know Denver Jones had himself a game and shot 70% from the field as well, but Chaney Johnson, he was the difference maker in that game, and it was a good game for Chaney, that's for sure.
Yeah, terrible game for Chad Baker-Mazara. Finishing with 0 points off a 0 of 6 shooting. You could tell that he was injured. You could tell that he was still trying to recover. All in all, though, it really showed what we needed to see. And this was a trap game. I mean, coming after the Florida game and before the Iron Bowl, we lost to Florida and we just looked sluggish. Bruce Pearl said it in interviews that he maybe pushed the team too hard, over-prepared for that Florida game, especially for the kind of physicality that we had to demonstrate there in that game. We needed them to be a little bit more fresh, but they bounced back, and it was the way they beat Vandy. Having Vandy fight back a little bit and get back into this game, and then for this team to say, okay, nope, not happening today, not happening this week. We're taking over and we're going to win this game. It was close at halftime. Auburn is up by 2 points. And then really in the second half, for the most part, after Chaney went off, it just felt like it was Auburn and there was nothing Vandy could do about it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't speak any higher about the team's grit in that game. They fought against a scrappy Vanderbilt team and just came out on top. I mean, Chaney was obviously and easily the hot hand in the game from an off-night shooting from Janai Broom, even though Janai still finished with 17 points. Chaney Johnson, he was the most important player on the court versus Vandy, and it definitely showed, especially with Chad Baker-Mazara not doing literally anything. Yeah. And it makes you think about what Bruce Pearl said about Chad. He's seriously banged up. I mean, it's not like season like threatening for him not being able to play, but he's definitely in a headspace right now dealing with some sort of injury. And it just speaks volume to the depth of the team. We have pieces when one piece goes out or is shooting poorly or performing poorly. Miles Kelly, he only had 3 points in the game, was 1 for 3, but he still played solid minutes and was huge defensively. It's just when one player is down, we have 9 other players that can come in and pick up some slack. And it showed versus Vanderbilt for sure.
Yeah, and Janai got 17 points, but he was 6 of 16. I talked about it in the last episode when you weren't here. His efficiency has just plummeted since he's come back from injury, and we need him to be more efficient than that. And he was a little bit more efficient in the Alabama game. But before we get there, like you said, there's just not one person on this team that has to play well in order for us to win, because there's so many pieces that can really do it. And,
we're just so deep.
Channing Johnson is quickly becoming my favorite player on this team because he does everything right. Everything. He just looks so good. If he comes back next year, he is going to be a monster. Monster, dude.
I would imagine at this point in time, Channing Johnson, I don't know. We don't have any sources whatsoever. I have no contact with Channing Johnson, but I would assume his way of thinking right now is like, yeah, I'm having the best year of my career. It would be smart for me to come back and fine tune what I've already improved on. And, going back to speaking on Janai Broom's efficiency before injury, I did the math on this. Before Janai Broom's injury, he was shooting 54.7% from the floor. After he comes back from his injury, he's down to 42% shooting. So the efficiency is definitely down, but still shooting 42% from the floor is still fairly good considering the average in the NBA for a big man is 43 to 45%. So his efficiency may be down from what it was at the beginning of the year. He's still very efficient at what he does and is still impacting these games and making his imprint.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, diving right into what everybody's here for, let's talk about Auburn's dominant win against Alabama, because that's what it is. It was a dominant win where we controlled the game from tip. Not once did we allow Alabama to have a lead in this game.
No, and what's crazy about that? It's the first time in the Nate Oates era that an Alabama basketball team has not led at any point in a home game. 87 straight home games. They led at least once.
Stat.
They did.
That's a crazy stat.
He never did versus Auburn. They tied it a couple times, but guess what? The true king of Alabama came out on top.
Very true. Very true. And we're dominating this series this year. I got a feeling. But before we get into, we'll get to that later. But I seriously, coming into this game, I kind of thought that we were going to lose. Alabama's the number 2 team in the country. They're playing exceptionally well. They had won 7 in a row, especially at the beginning of the game, even after we went on that 9-0 run. That arena, I've never heard it that loud. Bruce Pearl has never heard it that loud. Nobody has heard it that loud. And, I mean, the fans were really there for a majority of the game. There was a couple times Auburn was able to silence them, and it got pretty quiet in there. But the whole arena was pretty loud. And I thought that Auburn was going to split the series at this point in the season with the way that we were playing. Even though we had the bounce back game against Vandy, it just felt like, this is a long season. We've said it all year long. Winning on the road is super hard in this league. And Auburn surprised me and came out. And I think a lot of praise needs to go to Denver Jones.
Oh my God. All praise needs to go to Denver.
Denver completely locked down Spears. It was in the first half, the dude couldn't do anything, not a single thing. And he had 17 points at the end of the game, but a majority of that is from the charity stripe.
Yeah. 8 for 11 from the charity stripe.
And 4 of 17 field goals. 4 of 17. And 2 of those shots, Denver wasn't on him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, only 2 of those shots, Denver wasn't on him. His 2 threes, it was off of long rebounds, and Sears was able to get a long 3-point shot off. And so, I mean, Denver just absolutely crushed Sears and dominated this game. And then in the second half, dominated the offensive end because Denver finishes with 16 points off of
Went on
3
a
of
friggin'
5
tear.
3-point shot. Denver, I mean, he had a game. This picture right we're showing on the screen right now is right after he turned over Sears. It bounced. The ball bounced weird, and Sears went out of bounds. And Denver was just on a roll at this point, man. I cannot say enough good things. Bruce has been talking up Denver all year long. This is another guy that we could possibly get back next year. And right now, he is just he could quite possibly be the best defensive point guard in the country right now.
Oh, absolutely, no, without a doubt. And I don't know if Denver Jones would be able to come back next year.
Am I wrong about that? I thought maybe he would be able to.
No, FIU isn't JUCO, and he's a senior, so Denver's not eligible to come back next year.
Hey, maybe he and Drake can get together and can sue the NCAA and be able to get back, because right now that seems all you got to do is just sue the NCAA and you're going to get another year of eligibility. But one of the actual players I know for a fact can come back next year is this man right here, Chaney Johnson, who again had himself a game. He hit some wide open 3-point shots and is showing the whole country you cannot lag off on him. He is not Dylan Cardwell out there. He's going to take this shot and he's going to drain it, because what did he finish there? Let's see here. Chaney Johnson,
points.
2 of 4 from behind the arc, though. 50% from behind the arc. Chaney Johnson.
That's not Chaney's game at all.
Well, that's the thing, is he talked about the fact that he's worked on it a lot early on in the season. I can't remember what game it was. I think it was after the LSU game. He was like, I haven't been able to show anybody this because my shot hasn't been falling, but I worked really hard on my 3-point shot. And I think since that LSU game, it has clearly shown up because he has been draining it from 3 right now. And so Chaney Johnson, again, becoming one of my favorite players. He had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block, 14 points, like you said. Just absolutely amazing. And another person that can possibly come back next year, Chad Baker-Mazara, who just absolutely had a bounce-back game himself after going over in the Vandy game. Even though he didn't start and even though he was still hurt, he looked more like the old Chad Baker-Mazara on the offensive end. Defensive end, he looked a little sluggish to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's still dealing with that head injury. He's getting knocked around by everybody. Everybody knows in the past Chad Baker-Mazara has had a short fuse. Everybody's trying to light that fuse, and I mean, it's worked in 2 of the last 3 games where he's gotten ejected. I was a little questionable on this ejection against Alabama, but the replay clearly showed he took a swat at Youngblood's face, and it was not necessary. But I mean,
he's getting shoved out of bounds, but still.
He's getting tackled out of bounds like Michael Orr blocked that defender in the blind side out of bounds. It's just
threw him up out of the club.
I can't believe that wasn't called. But you know, we're in Alabama. Alabama's going to get some calls. All in all, I wasn't terribly unimpressed with Pat Adams in this game, which is unlike me to say, but towards the end of the game, you could definitely tell Pat Adams was making the game about himself.
He knew he hadn't had enough screen time. Nobody had said his name, and so he really decided to start talking and start going to reviewing and all that stuff. So
yeah, it was crazy, but I think the most gratifying part of the game is how inefficient Aiden Holloway was after all this hype about how efficient he has been in SEC play, which I'll give him props. He has been playing very good in SEC play, but his first shot attempt in this game was swatted away by Chaney Johnson under the back. He threw up a patented Aiden Holloway airball 3, which was also super awesome to see. But this game, man, you know, at the beginning, before the season started, I said that Auburn would go in here and win emphatically. I didn't think it would be emphatic in this aspect. I thought it was going to be a blowout, but in all definitions of the word emphatic, this was an emphatic win, considering the fact that Alabama was number 1 in the coaches poll. Can you believe that? and Auburn was number
That's
2 in the
unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, first time in
But-
SEC history that a 1 versus 2 was playing in the same season, in the regular season, and the true number 1 team comes out on top and beat the number 2 out of them.
Yeah, they did. They definitely did. And Josh, I think the difference is this man right here. The difference between this team and this year's team and last year's team is last year we had Aiden Holloway jacking up threes, missing. He finished the game with 10 points. But this man right here finished the game with 13 points and had some very timely, he had a very timely three. That three in transition with the ball game was tied.
After Steers hit a 3, yeah. Yep. It was a huge bucket.
Yep. Todd Pettiford kind of took over here at the end of the game and really just showed how dominant he is. I mean, 13 points against the number 2 team. He's a freshman still. He's just an absolute dog. And
I'm really hoping this kid does not go into the draft.
I
want
hope
him
so,
back for
but
selfish reasons.
It feels like he's going to go. I feel like he's going to go. When you look at his analytical stats per 30 minutes, his stats are through the roof. And so we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can hold on to him. But
if he balls out in March, it's not looking good.
No, it's not. And I mean, just ask Ja Morant. You can make a name for yourself come March. And,
yes, you can.
And Todd Pettiford could very well be that person that goes off in March. He could be the talk of the town. But Josh, right now, after this win against Alabama, okay, is this team playing its best basketball?
I would say from the second half in the Vandy game to now, they are playing their best basketball because it takes a lot of mental headspace to compose yourself in the way they did against Vanderbilt to hold them off and win by 12 and then go into such a hostile territory like the high school gym in Alabama and win against the number 2 team in the country. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to do that. And so I would say at the very least, this is the most they've grown all season. They were shown adversity in a very tough game against Florida and come back and is proving to everybody that they still deserve to be number 1, which I'm really shocked that they stayed at number 1 after losing to Florida. And I know a lot of well, it's true, but a lot of talking heads were saying that Duke deserved to be number 1 after Auburn lost, and then they go and lose to Clemson. So I think that helped a whole lot. But I don't know if they're playing their best basketball, but they're playing their most mentally tough basketball for sure.
Ooh, that's a really good point because, excuse me, I agree. I don't think this is their best basketball. Their best basketball was earlier on in the season. Their best basketball was in the Maui Invitational before we got into SEC play. But this conference is so tough. It's clear to see why we're having moments of struggling. I think Janai Broome is getting better and better and getting closer to 100%.
I don't know, after Alabama, he re-aggravated it.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that that's not that bad, and it was kind of just a twist, and it just kind of felt a little off in the moment because he came back out there, and I mean, there was that moment where it was him against 4 other Alabama players, and he somehow ended up with the ball before he got fouled by what's his face, Grant Nelson. And so
what a joke.
So and Janai Broome also shooting 7 of 16, so he was a little bit more efficient, I feel like.
Just under 50, yeah.
Yeah, just under 50, but still not back to where we need him to be, and hopefully he gets going. So I agree with you. I don't think they're playing their best basketball, but I think we're seeing that this team's best basketball isn't reliant on one person because game in and game out, it's completely different. And actually, that might be a lie. I think this team goes as Denver Jones goes. Because Denver Jones, when he's in it defensively, there's nobody that's going to score on him.
Well, I mean, he's been in it defensively all season.
And then when he is stroking it on offense, nobody can hang with us.
Pause.
You can pause all you want. But I'm telling you, The man was killing it on the offensive end and has been the last 2 games. And I think right now we go as he goes. And if he has a good game offensively as well as what he's been doing defensively, nobody's going to stop us.
No,
so
it's going to be very hard.
Here's the next question, Josh. Is Auburn going to be able to win out the regular season?
Well, I mean, with 3 or 4 of the next 6 games at home, it's going to be it's more likely than not that they win out. But we got to travel to Kentucky and Texas A&M, and no one's talking about the fact that Texas A&M is a top 8 team. Nobody. They're having a very good season, so they're not going to be an easy out. Same with Kentucky. They are so hot and cold. You never know what you're going to get from the Wildcats. But as far as the next 3 go, considering the fact that we got Arkansas, Georgia, and number 24 Ole Miss in Auburn, I would say it's very likely. And the fact that we beat Alabama in their own home and we get them the last game of the season, that place is going to be rocking. It's going to be loud, and I'll be damned if Auburn loses that game.
Yeah, it really feels like the game we're going to lose is the Texas A&M game. Buzz Williams has Auburn's. He has our number, and the fact that it's at Texas A&M, that one's going to be so hard. But hey, the team might get up for it and might just be out of this world ready for it, and so they very well could win. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they go undefeated in the last bit of the game of the season, but it seems unlikely with the schedule we have because we're still playing some really good teams. Arkansas, not a great team, but they seem to be getting better and better each week at times. Georgia, it depends on the week, and then Ole Miss, Kentucky, Texas A&M, and Alabama. They're still all great teams, and like you said, we got to go to Lexington, and we don't have a good record there.
No, but I could see Auburn going 5-1. I was going to say that Auburn would lose against Texas A&M if they're going to lose one, even though ESPN still has Auburn with a 62% chance to win that game. Yeah. That definitely can change, and I expected it will change. I think it would be closer to 50-50 by the time that game is actually on the schedule and time slots for TV. But if Auburn finishes less than 5-1, I'll be severely disappointed.
That's fair. If we lose 2 games, it could be very difficult. That Alabama game at the end of the season could very well be for the regular season title if we lose 2 games in this stretch. And that includes losing to Alabama there.
We better not.
Hopefully not. Well, until we get there, we got 2 other games to talk about. We got Arkansas coming up this week, Josh. They are going to be on the 19th at 8 p.m. 8 freaking p.m. What kind of bullshit is this?
It's garbage is what it is. I mean, it's 7 p.m. Central. I mean, 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time where we're at. But I mean, it's a late game, but you bet your ass I'll be watching the entire game.
And you know what I'm seeing? 8 p.m. on ESPN. Why is this game getting played on ESPN? I know Auburn is the number 1 team in the country, but we're getting played on ESPN. I mean, come on. It's got to be because it's Calipari, right? That's the only reason this is on ESPN.
That's exactly why it is. I mean, Arkansas isn't worth the dirt they walk on, but I mean, it's a crazy time slot for such a prestigious network like ESPN, but I'm not going to complain about it because I still get to watch it.
Well, that's true. And tickets, this might be the lowest price ticket of the season at Neville Arena. Tickets as low as $120. That's a freaking steal right there, man.
Yeah, no kidding, considering the fact that Alabama tickets were going for $3,000 lower court.
Oh, my gosh. So Auburn has a 92% chance of winning this game. Arkansas, you really don't know what team you're going to get. I mean, one day they're playing great, and the next game they're not. They got a player, Thiero, having almost 16 points a game. shooting 55% from the field. I mean, the guy is killing it. He's also their rebound leader as well. It feels like there's a reason why ESPN has us winning with a 92% chance. It really shouldn't be a close game when all is said and done.
It really shouldn't. I expect Auburn to win by 15 plus against Arkansas for sure.
We don't even have the line yet on this. That's a little bummer.
We're not going to get the line until either the night before or the day of.
Yeah. So, well, after this game, Auburn is going to have Georgia at our place this time on Saturday, the 22nd, 3 p.m. Central Time. This one's on ESPN too. Don't get it. You would think it'd be the other way around, personally, considering the fact that Georgia's been ranked at one point this year, a lot more recent than Arkansas. So, but once again, Auburn's got a 92% chance of winning this game. We should have Janai Broom for this game, so it really shouldn't be close. We should be able to spank them after how close it was.
You'd think, but Georgia's never an easy out for Auburn. Georgia always gives Auburn their best. We do have them in Neville, which is a huge plus, but Georgia, man, is just one of Auburn's biggest rivalries, even in basketball, and they're never easy to beat. But I do expect Auburn to come out on top.
I would expect it as well, and honestly, we should be able to. It should be a cakewalk. We should be putting in the third string, fourth string guys before the end of this game. It should be.
Calling it, huh?
Dude, I'm feeling so good about this team. I was booging at the beginning of the season. I called it. I said they were going to the national title. I still think that that's the case. I think this team is just so ready to get to postseason play. And I think the regular season title means something to this team. It's still yet to be seen about how they handle the postseason come the tournament, the SEC tournament, that is.
They need to scrap that. I hate the SEC
whether or not
tournament.
They really care for it or not. But it really feels like this team wants to win the regular season SEC title.
I mean, I hope they do. That gives them even more reason to sparingly play their starters in the SEC tournament, which I think is a huge waste of time before the actual meaningful tournament begins. But I mean, it's not going to affect the seeding, the SEC tournament. It's just not. Even if Auburn does drop 2 of their last 6 games, I think it's going to be very hard for the committee to remove Auburn as the number 1 overall seed. No other team in the country has the resume Auburn does. No other team in the country has even close to 14 quad 1 wins. And
say that again, Josh. Say that again.
No other team in the country is even close to 14 quad 1 wins. Florida is number 2 team
14.
Right now. Aren't they number 2?
Yeah, Florida moved up to number 2
now. You know what their quad 1 record is? 5-2.
That's still good. That's a good quad 1 record.
5 and I can't remember what there was. It wasn't as impressive as Auburn's 14.
Well, of course, nobody's is as impressive as Auburn's. Especially when you look at the team that we beat and the teams that beat us have been a top. They're both in the top 5. Both of those teams are in the top 5. We're not losing to freaking Richmond out there or Purdue.
No, imagine losing to Purdue. Just imagine.
Or Ole Miss.
In your own home. Imagine. You just can't do it.
Oh, jeez. That high school arena, it's silly.
Such trash.
Well, Josh, this has just been an awesome, awesome week. It was so fun for us to have these 2 wins after how depressing the Florida game was, because I was depressed. When I saw the effort, I was depressed, and this team was definitely ready for the Alabama game, and they ended up being ready for the Vandy game, and so absolutely positively love this team. Before we get out of here, though, I want to remind everybody, if you are looking to get some new Auburn gear. Get ready for this upcoming March season. Get ready to buy that Auburn gear that says SEC Champions on it. Go to fanatics.com. Use our affiliate link below. Help this channel out. We would greatly appreciate it. Good thumbs up there, Josh. Well, Josh, tell the people how they can get us, where they can get us.
Well, you can find us on YouTube, X, TikTok, Facebook. We're not very active on Instagram like we need to be, but you can find us on there. You can find us anywhere, really. Anywhere you get your podcasts, we're there.
Yep.
We're doing this. We're loving this, and we're just having fun with it.
Yep. And we're going to keep on having this content come to you guys. Absolutely stick around with us. This March is going to be phenomenal. We're going to finish out February real strong, and then we're going all the way. Shock the world. War Eagle, Josh.
Johnson goes to deny. Step back. Big play.
It's got you here.
Jones doesn't go the tip by Broom.